All right, this is the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions. Continuing our Clash of the Champions review series. This is going to be WCW Clash of the Champions 32. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into this. This thing between backstage things and matches had 14 segments in an hour and 40 minutes, and there was just a lot of chaos, a lot of emphasis on the whole wedding deal, a main event that got changed at the last minute due to gripes from a certain wrestler. I'll get to that in a little bit. This was one day after I believe it was Nitro, if I'm not mistaken, when Savage won the title from Flair. So let's go ahead and get into it. Before we even have the match, to go to the matches, they showed the night before on Nitro, like I said, Savage beating Flair for the WCW title, Savage and Hogan having some words, plus Sting and Luger winning the tag team titles over Harlem Heat. And then Bobby announcing that the Road Warriors are in fact in attendance on this evening and they would be there. And then Mean Gene Okerlund is at the Little White Chapel in downtown Las Vegas, where later on Sherry and Colonel Parker are getting married. That was ridiculous. Too much time spent on that.
Yeah, because they kept going to it. They should have just had one short segment about it, and that was it. But
And
instead,
then do
throughout
this
the
segment
night,
and be done with it.
right? But then throughout the night, there's multiple segments. Just
Yeah. So here we go. Opening match of the night for the Clash was the Nasty Boys versus Public Enemy. They should have just labeled this a street fight
pretty
because
much.
that's what it was. The only unfortunate part of this was you don't get a victor because the referee double disqualified both of them for not even doing anything. Sags goes down and gets the table, comes back with it. It wasn't used. Nobody touched it. Patrick rings the bell, double disqualification. So now we're going to go ahead and use the table.
Right,
What the hell? Match is
yeah.
over. Grunge puts Knobs on top of the table. Rocco with a moonsault on Knobs, through it, or at least part of the table.
Part of the table, and he hit him hard.
Yes,
he hit him in the head.
Public Enemy were kind of known for
Taking
a little
crazy
more
bumps.
aggressive. Yeah,
Yeah, but he got.
unfortunately.
Look at
And then, of course, Sags throws the other part of the broken table at Grunge. So, I mean,
right, and it hit him. That's what I meant.
Hit
I'm
him
sorry.
hard.
It hit. Yeah, I'm talking about when Grunge got hit. He got hit hard.
Yeah.
That might have been a receipt. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was because one time during the match earlier, Sags took a drop and you could hear him,
Yeah.
arrive pain. So it wasn't like it was the weight was kind of shifted off. So yeah, there was a lot of animosity. Again, Public Enemy had that wherever they went, except in ECW where they could do it and it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So following that segment, Eric Bischoff interviewed Ric Flair and the Giant, who would be in the main event later on in the evening. They talked about losing the title the night before, and Ric Flair says it means nothing. Okay, you lost the title, it means nothing. All right. Usually he would be irate in this situation.
At that point, Flair was just they were making him job to Hogan all the time, and then once Savage got there, he had a job out to Savage too. It was like one of those deals.
He unfortunately, yeah, he was the poster child for the ass whoopings for the Mega Powers.
Pretty much.
This is a place that he built, and they just come in, piss all over it, and then he's the. Yeah, I didn't like how Flair was treated once they got there, and then once the NWO took off.
Oh, forget it.
Flair was a weekly whipping boy. So yeah, it wasn't good. So the next match on the card was Alex Wright versus Dean Malenko.
Mm-hmm.
They showed last Saturday that how Malenko put the Texas Cloverleaf on Alex Wright, did not relinquish it when the match was over. It took two referees to get Malenko to break it. So this is kind of a grudge match going on here. Early in the match, Malenko with a leg drop looked like he actually hurt Alex Wright at one point, but Wright was able to walk it off and continue the match. Malenko whipped it to the corner. Wright kicks off of Malenko, which was actually pretty cool. Doing a flip. Malenko drop kicks the injured knee of Alex Wright from the beginning of the match and rolls him up. And now during the 3 count, Wright got his shoulder up at 2, and it didn't look like Anderson had counted the 3, but calls for the bell. So here we go again with another referee screw up. 1, 2, ring the bell. Exactly. Dean Malenko gets the victory once again over Alex Wright.
Good match. It was a good match though. Good.
It was. like I said, I love that flip that that Alex Wright did off of Malenko in the corner. It was kind of cool, but then Malenko was able to counter that. And then Malenko leaving the ring says, "That's your receipt."
Mhm.
So don't know what happened, what transpired there. Maybe something on the Saturday night show. Who knows? Following this, now there was supposed to be Kevin Sullivan versus the Disco Inferno. Thank God we didn't get it.
Yeah, no thanks. This
An
cool.
Elvis impersonator comes in with a singing telegram to Kevin Sullivan, who
What the
happens to
hell?
be Mike Winner.
Right.
Came out and said that Disco forfeited the match due to the fact that he's performing at Parker and Sherry's wedding.
At the wedding, yeah. Okay.
Why couldn't we just skip the whole segment period?
Just skip
Just
it.
don't even put it on there.
Right.
If the match isn't happening, the match isn't happening.
Yeah.
Or change up the match and put something else in
Mm-hmm.
there. This was a waste. And then, of course, Sullivan attacks Elvis.
Yeah, Sullivan throws him a beating. I guess that was the payoff.
Somebody's
I
getting
guess.
their ass whooped that
Right. Yeah.
night.
Somebody had to. Yeah.
Now, following that, Mean Gene Okerlund interviewed Bunkhouse Buck and Dirty Dick Slater,
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
asking where Parker is. Plus, Eric Bischoff interviewed Sting and Lex Luger. Now, this was a good interview because during
It was.
the Road Warriors come out wearing the blue, and I love the
Yeah.
blue.
Mm-hmm.
I also love in WWE when they had the gold or the
Mm-hmm.
silver that they come out with.
Yeah, the
That
gold.
was great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always love the red, but I like when they changed it
Right.
up.
Right. No, it was cool.
And they challenged Sting and Luger. Sting loves the idea. He's high fiving the Road
Right.
Warriors like they're, yeah, man, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. All
Right.
right,
Right. I guess he had respect for them though.
he did.
Luger.
And of course, Luger wasn't having it. He's
wasn't.
like, hold on, no, I didn't.
He's
agree
like,
to
we got to
this.
defend the title against this team. He brought up State Patrol, which had me in
Yes,
tears.
I saw that.
And then
I'm
Bishop
like,
said
they're still
State.
there.
Bishop said State Patrol. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, so once you face State Patrol, then you face
Right.
the
Then you
Road
get, you got
Oh
it.
my
Jesus,
God.
that was good. It was a good segment. I enjoyed it.
And then following that segment, too many segments backstage here, man. They showed an interview done earlier with Paul Orndorff about the attack done by the Four Horsemen on him
Mm-hmm.
back in December. Flair and Anderson with the spike pile driver on Orndorff. Orndorff said, "I'm coming back. Please don't. Just stay there." And then, of course, another backstage segment where now Mean Gene is interviewing Rob Parker at the chapel.
Right. Yeah.
Parker said he lost all of his money. Oh boy.
Okay.
Gets a phone call from who we thought was Sherry at the time,
Right.
but it's not. We'll get to that
Find
in a
out.
little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll find out who that is later on.
And then Parker trying to borrow $50 from Mean Gene.
Yeah.
God, dude. He came in. Gino, pal, can you lend me on $50? I kind of lost my way. Yeah, right. I'll never get it back. So they wound up having to do the wedding by oh man, Next match on the card was Eddie Guerrero versus Brian Pillman. I love this match for one thing.
Oh no.
Yes.
Heenan?
When Pillman kind of like puts his hands on Bobby
On his
Heenan,
neck.
and it looked like he was looking to use him as a shield, but whatever. Heenan got scared because he's had the surgically repaired neck.
He also didn't know because I saw a shoot interview with Heenan years ago before he passed. He said that it initially like happened so fast he didn't know that it was Pillman. He thought maybe it was some fan that like reached over.
Yeah.
So he kind of freaks out and he curses on the air.
Yup.
Yeah.
And then you can tell in Bobby's demeanor when he gets off the
He
thing
got
that
up.
he
got
screwed up.
first. Yeah.
And like, oh shit, my job is in jeopardy now. And he comes back and he apologizes to everybody. Luckily, nothing transpired as a result of that. But that
Pillman's
was really unexpected.
Right. Pillman's doing that crazy gimmick, where he's like, he was doing a lot of stuff backstage too, apparently, where like they didn't know whether he was crazy or not. Like he was really trying to work everybody, which I think he pulled it off.
He did.
Yeah. So
Pillman with a crossbody drop, and he got the pin by holding the tights on Guerrero.
good match.
Pillman leaving the ring around Bobby, and Bobby got up and got away from Pillman the second time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't blame Bobby for what he did.
No.
He got spooked.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Not sure. Obviously this wasn't part of the whole thing.
No, it wasn't.
And then of course dropping that F-bomb, and I'm like,
F-bomb,
whoa.
Yeah. You can see Pillman was shocked too, though. You can see Pillman was kind of like, oh, he didn't know.
I guess he didn't expect that kind of reaction from Bobby.
Right. Yeah.
But again, like you said, he didn't know if it was a fan. He had the neck surgically repaired.
Yep.
He's got to watch out for his well-being, and it startled him. I don't blame him. So following that now, our next match on the card, well, actually, before we get to that, Eric Bischoff interviewed, like we really needed this, 2 matches before the main event. Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, and Kevin Green. Hogan stating that Elizabeth would be in their corner on this evening.
And this man, and man, has Macho Man not learned not to bring Elizabeth around Hogan?
No.
You would have thought after the lust in his eyes and all that stuff that
He's
he
a
just
glutton.
would
He's
have.
a glutton for punishment, man.
Exactly.
It don't matter. And then Hogan wants to know who's taking Liz out on the town. And at this point, if I was Savage, I'd have slapped the shit out of him.
You should have.
Ex-wife or not, man, don't make that
Right.
comment on air.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next match on the card is for the WCW Tag Team titles. It's Sting and Luger versus the Blue Bloods. Now, earlier in the dark match, Steven Regal actually injured his knee against an opening in that match against Chris Benoit. So he had it heavily taped up for this match, and you could tell that he was favoring it a little bit. Benoit also bled during that match after receiving several headbutts during that match, so I got a little extreme. Now, during the match, Regal applying the Regal struts on Luger, but Sting was able to quickly break it up because you put that move on, it's over. Eaton on the top rope, Regal hits Sting, who goes into the rope. This is comical. When Eaton loses his balance and comes down, hitting Regal, Sting applies the Scorpion Deathlock, and the tag team titles have successfully been defended after a huge bunch of comical errors here.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make this stuff up tonight. This clash has just been starting and just been going downhill. Unfortunately,
couple bright spots, but it's suffering.
Yeah, Hogan, who's going to take Liz out tonight, brother? Savage, you should have done it. Should have nailed him. In any event, following that, now Mean Gene is with Parker and Sherry. Finally, we're doing the wedding. Parker tells Sherry he's broke. The wedding will be outside the chapel. They're doing it at the drive-thru.
Jesus
She's
Christ.
pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Eric Bischoff, following that, interviewing psychotic Brian Pillman. Now, our next match on the card, we're not quite there yet for the wedding. Just her finally showing up, and she's pissed and trying to figure out where she's going to get dressed. The next contest was Conan versus Psychosis, and this was for the Mexican Championship title. Mike Tenay joined the commentary.
Yeah, because Tenay was the guy that knew all the cruiserweights and all the international guys. Like he was that guy.
Yeah, there was one of them that I think it was the next clash that Bobby. How do you know all this stuff? Because he's been there, he's lived there, he's followed them, he's done. He done it. The man's done his homework.
Right. This was a fun match. I thought. Oh, this was a good match.
It was. Conan with a standing figure four or a zip lock, as Tenay called it, on Psychosis got the submission. So Conan successfully defended the title, but they did say that they noticed that a slight attitude change coming on Conan now, because remember, he's no longer the U.S. champion. And so he's got a little bit more of a demeanor to him, but still held his own here in this one, got Psychosis to tap out or say I quit. So he's still the Mexican heavyweight champion. Now, following that, now we're back at the wedding where Parker's still trying to borrow $30 from Gene. Now he's down to 30. And Mean Gene's giving Sherry away. They're talking about Parker's phone call earlier. Sherry said it wasn't her. This is where it's getting all a lot more interesting. Now, in the distance, if you look at Parker's trailer, someone is getting out of the trailer and making a mad dash to the wedding. It's Medusa.
Yeah.
So she slaps Sherry, and they go at it. So this is what you dropped the women's title in the bucket for, to have a one-on match with Sherry, and then we're not going to see you again for a while until you're going to fight Colonel Parker.
Pretty much. I mean, it's not her. It's not her.
Smart decision, Medusa.
Well, it's not her fault. She didn't know that. I'm sure that's not what they sold her when.
Well, when you sign on to a division, to an organization that has no women's division.
Yeah, I know, but
I mean, what do you expect they're going to do with you?
Vince was phasing out the women's division anyway, so she did what she had to do.
Well, all he did was just bring them in for a one-off to face the champ. The champ beats them, then they leave. So that was about it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It wasn't as exciting as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But still. So now her and Sherry are fighting all over the food, all over everything. Match made in heaven here, Parker. So now we're on to our main event, which is Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage versus Ric Flair and the Giant.
Yep.
Now I want to say this: Ric Flair had demanded that the way this match goes changed because obviously the finish was supposed to be Hogan dropping the leg on Flair. Flair demanded that it be changed, or he was going to quit WCW. And by this point, I don't blame him because it seems to be happening far too many often.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was.
It's every time they fight each other. It's like Flair is not getting the upper hand on him. One time when he has the supposed attacker, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So now at the event, Flair would the decision was changed to where Flair would pin Savage after hitting him with a foreign object. Now,
Mega Powers are back with Elizabeth.
Yep, Miss Elizabeth is in Savage and Hogan's corner. Kevin Green again in their corner. Green gets in the ring to get Flair, but Flair gets out of the ring. Whatever. Hogan slamming the Giant was a plus during this match. Hogan and Giant fighting on the outside. Savage hits the elbow drop on Flair. Jimmy now here he comes on the apron. Savage grabs him. Flair hits him with a taped object, and that's how he gets the victory over them. Following that, Zodiac and Pillman came down. Green gets in the ring. We got a huge melee going.
Yeah, because Green is the one who saw the object. Remember, Green was like pointing it out, and
so, am I upset that it was changed? No, because I
didn't go over clean. This is fine. It's not like he went over clean.
As long as he's the victor in the match, considering you just lost your title the night before, and then I'm supposed to lose for like the 7th, 8th time to the same guy.
Yeah. How are you gonna get any heat? You gotta get some heat too. The heels gotta get over too. Man.
Exactly. So on this evening, Ric Flair and the Giant are victorious over Hogan and Savage on Elizabeth's debut. Well, we know where that's going. But overall, this clash,
mediocre.
It was too many backstage interview segments, too many
the wedding
going off to the wedding. Yeah, it was just too much.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't focus on the wrestling at hand. And on the card, you had 6 good matches.
Mm-hmm.
The 7th that you took off and made everybody aware of it too, which I really don't think you had to, because Sullivan and Inferno is not something that you're going to miss. But on this night, this wasn't really that good.
I agree. All right, well, that's our review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.
Take care.